All right, I think this is part 4. Okay, the stages of team development. There's 4 main stages: forming, storming, norming, and performing. And so let's just get into it. And I'm going to help my son here for just a minute. Okay, so when we talk about forming, this is the initial part, and sometimes we have a lot of turnover, like we said before, in this stage. When people initially come together, they can be kind of shy, trying to feel out whether they can actually be on a team. They're looking at what kind of responsibilities they'll be given. Just trying to really see how things will go, right? After they get a little bit comfortable, then the things start coming up, and this is where we start going into storming, and people might start jockeying for position, and they're now willing to voice opposition. And if somebody's irritating them, they're more willing to say, "Hey, that's odd. I mean, why am I being treated this way?" So we get a lot of what we call storming or conflict, especially A-type conflict during this part. Norming. During the norming stage, people are beginning to know their roles, both informal and formal roles. So in the team, a team lead might say, okay, you're responsible for this, this, and this. Those are their formal roles. There's also informal roles that they might take on, like gesture or someone who gets coffee. These just different things that how they flow, communicator, disseminator, that type of thing. These type of roles that we grease the mechanics of the team with. We start developing friendships in the norming stage, and we start learning how to depend on each other. In the performing stage, now we're getting into a sense of belonging and a sense of loyalty. And we really we know our positions and we're playing well, and it's like the timing between the quarterback and the receiver. The quarterback can throw it before the receiver's even in the spot where he's going to be to catch it, because they have that sync. And that's the performing part of it. Now, eventually the team is going to start denorming as team members start getting other responsibilities outside of the team, especially project teams where we have an ending to it, or one of our team members might be getting promoted, so they're in a 2-week adjustment going from our team to another team or to another position. The company will start going through these cycles again. Another thing to remember when we're looking at these cycles, I can go from storming to norming back down to storming. It's not, sometimes it's not like the most fluid growth. And one of the things that we can do to help move quickly from the forming stage through the storming and norming stage into performing is set really good goals. So one of the things that we need to remember is when we set goals, what kind of goals do we set? SMART goals, right? And by setting goals, we increase a team's performance. And it's important to set goals early in the game. One of the things that happens if we don't set good goals, and goals that we agree on, so we have commitment, is that team members will start setting goals for themselves, for the team, and for each other that are informal and not expressed. And then when we finally decide on a team goal, then they'd have to be readjusted, and they might get a little upset about that. That happens too with when people have significant others that they're working with. They might have their own goals. They might have goals for their significant other, and they might have goals for the marriage that aren't expressed and might be in conflict with their significant other's goals. So, like, my goal might be to really enjoy raising the children and experiencing Disneyland and the beach and having all these fun experiences as the kids are growing, where my wife's goals she might be as focused on that. She might be more focused on their education and saving money for retirement so we can enjoy things without the kids. And if I keep on spending money on fun things now, she will resent that because her goals are different. And if we don't express those and agree upon goals for the relationship, then we'll have conflict. The more challenging the goals that we make, the less likely, the more people will be in alignment, and the faster we'll move through the stages. And it also will reduce social loafing. And remember, we want to not only reduce social loafing, but we want to reduce perceived social loafing. So as a team lead, if you see someone or you hear the murmurings that someone's not pulling their weight, we really need to work on that quickly, because social loafing will lead to resentment, and resentment stops us from getting to the performing stage. It'll bring us back into that storming stage. And sometimes we might get all the way almost to performing, and then resentment comes in and we're back into storming. Let's talk about stretch goals. Stretch goals are extremely ambitious goals that workers don't know how to reach. Now, if we throw these on a continual basis, stretch goals just bring stress, right? So we want to make sure that when we're working, when we develop stretch goals, that we reduce anxiety, and that we they might not know initially how to reach it, but then we'll know the first steps, and once we get those steps done, we'll figure out the next steps, so forth. So one of the things that we know, that when we give people these extremely ambitious goals that we're not quite sure how we're going to achieve, we need to also give teams a lot of autonomy, give them a lot of resources, make sure that they have structurally whatever they need, the accommodations they need, and give them bureaucratic immunity. Now, you might recognize some of these things from designing an environment for creativity, right? Autonomy, bureaucratic immunity, resources. These are all things that we need to be creative. And that's important when we work with stretch goals, because a lot of creativity, we need a lot of creativity in order to figure out how to reach these goals that we might not currently know how to reach. Okay, just a few more slides. When we're selecting people for teams, we need to realize that some people really are adverse to working on teams. A lot of people who are not gregarious but introverts might have a hard time working on certain teams. Or if they're working on a team, we need to realize that they might be great analysts, but we don't need to put them in a position to present, at least not outside the team. So these are collectivismist, put groups' interests ahead of themselves. That's good to know. Team level, not as important. Team diversity, talks about the different abilities and stuff. I think somebody has a question. So these are definitions, right? Team level, team diversity, variance of differences in ability, personality, or any other factor on the team. We do want some diversity on our teams to help us have a depth of perception and decision making. It helps in our decision making. When we look at training teams, there's certain skills that help foster a team's ability to get into that performing, maintain a high level of performance. Interpersonal skills, decision-making skills, problem-solving skills, conflict resolution skills, and some technical training. These are all good skills for most managers, for anybody to develop, so that they're specific for team training. They're good skills for people to get trained on. The last slide talks about compensation. Now, I really believe that team compensation shouldn't really be something that we have to really talk about a lot. In the teams I work on, I think that my employees should be paid well for their jobs, and there shouldn't be a lot of hopefully not a great discrepancy on a long-term team. Now, there might be some lower level and some higher level people, but if I have a lot of managers on a team, hopefully the pay ranges are about the same, so we don't have to worry about that, comparing. And I don't, from studies that we've seen, bonuses don't work well in motivating people to be creative. Gain sharing, though, might be an effective way, but I think gain sharing might be effective for everyone, not just a team-based compensation. So skill-based is a general thing, so is gain sharing. This happens a lot, and one of the things that we might do to develop camaraderie is non-financial reward. So when we're on a team and we're trying to build that team relationship outside of the work environment, we're going to a baseball game, or we're going to mini golf, or a movie, or whatever. I know it's hokey, but giving everyone a T-shirt, and we're going to walk around in our T-shirts, like you might see people going to Disneyland or something like that, doing that thing. That actually is effective in helping people. All right, that's it for this chapter. Don't forget to watch the videos. I think we have a TED Talk video for this chapter.